Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 7. So obviously we're in the off-season for Arrow and all the other DC TV shows apart from Supergirl, but that ends in like 2 weeks I think. But with an off-season after a season comes the lead up to the new seasons, with various castings being made as they lead into the beginning of filming for the shows around, mid-July. So last week we went over a Flash casting breakdown, which will most likely be for Cicada, a villain for their new season. But in this video we will be going over a few new characters and their casting descriptions that we will be getting in season 7 of Arrow. Now, 2 of these are castings that I did bring up a few days ago, and I think it was my Everything We Know So Far video for Arrow Season 7, but we will be getting more in-depth descriptions for those characters in this video. Now, this information was supplied by that#show.com, so I will leave the link to their article and their full breakdown of these characters in the description down below, where there is some more information as well that I didn't supply in this video, so go check them out. Can't do this video without their information. Now, there are 3 new character descriptions here. The first 2 are the ones we briefly talked about in that video from a few days ago that I referenced just before. They do all have names. However, it is important to keep in mind that they usually put fake names on these casting descriptions, as the show doesn't really want to reveal what characters are coming to the show too early. So the first new character for Arrow Season 7 is a new Star City Police Department member who looks like they will be going to take over the role of ours and Team Arrow's connection to the police force in Star City. So meet Jesse Bowden, or Bowden, one of the 2, who the casting department is looking to have a recurring Caucasian 18-plus-year-old actress to play as late teens to early 20s. She is the rookie recruit in the Star City Police Department and is both athletic, comedic, and intelligent. But underneath her youthful attitude lies a woman who has had enough of vigilantes in Star City and is willing to get rid of them no matter what it takes. Think of her as Buffy Summers if she was slaying superheroes instead of vampires. Now, you would have to think that this Jessie will be an original character for the series, like we tend to see most of the time when it comes to cops and those type of characters. However, like we see a decent amount of times on these shows with maybe characters outside the police department that they might want to they might want to make this police character a character from the comics that maybe that's connected to the outside world, if that makes sense. She then could be based on a random DC character that not many would be familiar with. Her last name does have the name Bo in it, so are they hinting at something there? Is this a new Archer, or am I reaching a bit there? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. The next casting description comes for another recurring character in Daniel Porter. They are looking for a Caucasian actor in his mid-30s. He is an intelligent and homosexual technological entrepreneur whose creativity has given him a huge success as a businessman. But having gone through tragic losses in his life is something he hides from the people around him, thus struggling with shaping new relationships with others. Once again, similar to the Jesse Bowden character, there is a chance that this Daniel character is an original character for the show. However, there is some heavy speculation from many online that this could in fact be a DC character that many should be familiar with, and one that has been, teased or at least hinted to in the past on the show. And that character is in fact Ted Kord, aka Blue Beetle. Well, the second Blue Beetle. Obviously, we have the existence of Kord Industries on Earth 1, as we've seen many times on Arrow, and a handful of times on The Flash. Ted Kord himself has been mentioned a few times without him, being seen on screen as well. Now, an important thing to bring up is that back in Season 3, when casting calls and descriptions similar to this were released, they also had a mystery character named Daniel, who was described quite similarly to this version. That Daniel, who was actually later revealed to be Ray Palmer, aka the Atom, who of course was in Season 3 and is now currently on Legends. But yeah, that Daniel was almost described the exact same way as this Daniel Porter for Arrow Season 7. Even back then, there were heavy speculations that this was actually going to be Ted Kord due to him being name-dropped multiple times on the show before. But obviously this changed when it was actually revealed that it was Ray Palmer that was coming to the show. So what if this time we are actually going to be getting Ted Kord? The thing that has always been in the way of Ted coming onto the show was that Booster Gold movie, which was, from memory at least, meant to be like a buddy cop style movie, of course with Booster Gold, but his familiar friend of Blue Beetle as well. But that project has gone, quiet of late, so why not lend, Ted Kord to the TV side of things for at least just one season on Arrow. But then again, the first Blue Beetle was Daniel Garrett, so they could maybe mix the 2 characters together and have the Daniel Garrett version show up and be Blue Beetle, but based on that description, it sounds like Ted Kord, because Daniel Garrett is like an archaeological professor, I think, in the comics, hence him finding that scarab. So, yeah, you'd have to think it's Ted Kord if it's going to be any of the Blue Beetle characters. And the last character we are going to be going over is, like the first character casting, another mystery female character that we are unsure of whether they are an original character for the show or someone that will be ripped from the comics. It's hard to tell as per usual. But anyway, Arrow is looking for an actress to fill the role of Konomi Rhodes, who is half Japanese as well as half Caucasian, somewhere in her late 20s to early 30s. Konomi is a formidable fighter who ends up clashing with the heroes of Star City. Her background consists of being a tactician in the military while also carrying on as a street fighter. But yeah, as I was saying, Konomi could just be an original character, but it does, seem, going by that description, that she could in fact be, one of the longbow hunters that were name dropped in the finale for season 6 by Diaz. Also, if she is ex-military, it wouldn't surprise me if she is a mercenary, which would link into being a part of the longbow hunters. But if she is a longbow hunter, who is she from the comics? Well, there are a few options, 3 main ones and, 4, I guess. I will mention that, that outlier, that one's a bit random right now. And that outlier is that she could be Mia Dearden. They could make her like the Mia Dearden for the show. The street fighting thing makes me think of Mia Dearden from Smallville, I think it was. So they might take that and put it into the show. But the thing is that Thea on the show, her middle name was Dearden. It was like Thea Dearden Queen, hence why she became Speedy. So I think they might stick away from Mia on the show just because of, Thea being on there as well. But yeah, the first real one we'll go over is that it could be Emiko Queen, or Emmy for short. Emiko was first introduced in the comics around halfway through the New 52 run of Green Arrow, and she was the half-sister of Oliver Queen, with her parents being that of Robert Queen, as you would expect, to have some connection there with Oliver, and Shadow. Now that arc is interesting, to say the least. But in DC Rebirth, she has taken the Red Arrow mantle in the comics. It would be cool to introduce Emiko, as she is like a fan favorite amongst those who do read Green Arrow. You do get like solid back and forth banter and stuff between her and Ollie in the comics, which would be pretty interesting to see on the show. The biggest issue is if they did make her Ollie's half sister, and let's just say she was offspring of Robert Queen, who was the mother? It couldn't have been Shadow. They'd have to change that. So that is something they would have to change up from the comics. Another thing that gets in the way of this is, well, Ollie already has a half sister that dresses up in red and fired arrows, and her name was Thea Queen. So they would just be doing the exact same thing with the character, except she would be half Asian this time around. So I can't see Emiko being this character. The next potential character from the comics that could end up being this Konomi character is one that Young Justice fans should be pretty familiar with, and that is Cheshire. This would be interesting, seeing that Roy Harper is going to be returning to Arrow in Season 7 as a series regular, so it would make a lot of sense to bring her in and set her up as like a part-time love interest, part-time villain for Arsenal. I know Thea's still out there, but hey, maybe something happened, that's why Roy's coming back to the show. Maybe he and Thea split up. In the comics, Roy and Cheshire are a thing, and even had a kid that, well, I won't ruin the story there, but things don't go brilliantly in regards to that family. There would have to be a change up here with the character, though, as Cheshire in the comics is half Vietnamese, not half Japanese. But we have seen changes with nationality in the past, so it wouldn't be that big of a change in comparison to past ones. It's just that some people are sensitive to that type of change. So it might be a bit risky there, but I don't know. I'm not the one making the big calls. And finally, our last option, and it's one that I'm, sure quite a few fans have wanted to see for some time, and that is the villain known as Lady Shiva. One of the bigger things that makes Lady Shiva a potential choice is that her first appearance in the comics was actually in a Richard Dragon comic. So right off the bat there's already some ties between those two characters. The biggest hurdle with this character is whether it's believable that a character like Lady Shiva from the comics, who is pretty badass, would be part of a group and, presumably be working for Diaz. Honestly, if this is Lady Shiva at her prime, no, I don't believe it's the case at all. It would be really unbelievable that Lady Shiva would be a part of the Longbow Hunters and be working for someone like Diaz. However, they could make it that this is like a rookie Lady Shiva, and the character is in her late, 20s or early 30s, so it's believable that she would maybe only just have left the military and is just making a name for herself at this current time. But that is the wrap up of all those casting descriptions and all of them. I know we spent more time on the last casting description, but there was more to talk about there. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions. Probably ignoring the cop one, that first one. There's probably not much to talk about there. But what are your thoughts on the Blue Beetle potential? Do you think he could be coming to the show? And what are your thoughts about that last half Asian, half white character? Do you think it's going to be Lady Shiva? Maybe someone like Cheshire, even Emiko if you want it to be someone like that? Or do you think it's going to be a different character completely? Maybe an original character for the show? Just let me know all of your opinions downstairs in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.